It's 7:40. Let's do this. Imagine you driving 60 miles to the west, to a town you barely knew, to ask a girl that you never met out on a date. Who does that? I'm so glad Dad did, because otherwise my brother and I wouldn't be here. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live, sponsored by Marco's Pizza. By the way, we are so appreciative. I am very grateful that you're watching right now. And maybe you watch it a few minutes, hours, or days later, but if you are, how about, I don't have that ability. I can't cut your grocery bill in half, but I certainly have some weight to cut your pizza bill in half. You mean you get 50% off? That's my favorite WTKR promo code, right? This was like one of the first ones. All you have to do is go to WTKR 50 and go to Marcos.com, order whatever you want, all that you want, whether it be hot wings, subs, salads, beverages. They got soft drinks, tea. Maybe you want one of those gluten-friendly pizzas with the cauliflower crust. Oh, they got that. They got every type of pizza you can imagine. Go to Marcos.com, and because you're watching First Warning Live, we want to make sure that you get cared for. We want to get you fed. I've said this is like a weather party. I mean, I'm not kidding. This is like a weather party. And in the next few minutes, we're going to get to weather here, obviously. You've come to the right place if you want to know about weather. So let's get to that. Before I digress, though, there are 5 locations. You can go anywhere in Hampton Roads to Marcos. You can go anywhere in Tidewater to go to Marcos.com. But these 5 contest locations are important because that's where you get the 50% off. And if you want to register for the excellent WTKR.com Marcos, they've got a promo. We're giving away free pizza for a year. Another winner will be announced on Thursday. So this is what a Magnifico pizza looks like, one topping, old style pepperoni. The Pozzoli on the left is one of my favorite lunch items, but we're going to be giving away free pizza for a year, like single pizzas, and then also one per month, one large, one topping monthly. All right, I got to get ahead to the weather because that's why you're here. I'm going to get to this because one of the cool things, and I will get to the, if this makes any sense, I don't know if it does. I was talking about 60 miles. I just thought I'd share some of my cool family footnotes because we've been on this trend of why and weird things that happen and life doesn't work like that, or does it? I'll kind of cover all that at the end. But let's get to the nuts and bolts because what's really important is it's soon going to feel like August around here. August? I'm not ready for August. It's only the 17th of June, mind you. Keep in mind, it's only the 17th of June, and some of you are probably thinking, I'm not ready for that. That's a commitment to get there. And I got it. Darlene, she's like, August? She's like, wow, it is a wow, Darlene. I think it's amazing that it's all of a sudden going to be feeling like 106. Wait a minute. Yesterday you said it was going to feel like 105. I know, these things change. It really is, it's wild and wacky, but if you think about it, it's really not unheard of to think that we could actually have feels like temperatures by this time tomorrow and Juneteenth, we could have feels like of 106. The last time Norfolk hit 95 was August 29th. That was only 292 days ago, but who's counting? I am. That's almost 10 months ago. Well, 9 months, 3 weeks to be precise, but who's doing that? I am, because I thought that gives you context, right? So as we go back to the maps here, and I thank you, Darlene, for sharing that note. You stole my thunder because I like to be able to share some comments that you might be seeing. If you've got a note, like I like to lead by example. So this is me here. If you want to participate in this First Warning Live, all you have to do is put your comment at the top of the screen there. It's pretty easy. And then Facebook's picture, whatever one you have there, will suddenly appear at the bottom. We'll do what we can to get you recognized. But you can clearly see that we have some rain and thunder in the area, but it doesn't look all that impressive. And I'll get to your comments again in a second, but let's just take a look at what the National Weather Service and specifically the Storm Prediction Center is talking about. Because when you look at this, this is kind of like weird. They still have us under a level 1. Well, doesn't that mean like it's bad? It means that we could get some spotty severe storms in places like Norfolk. Maybe Exmoor between now and 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Maybe Franklin, Williamsburg. But so far, so good. Meaning, so far, I'm not convinced. I haven't seen a lot. It's coming in with a whimper. And if you were really paying close attention and you're a weather nerd like me, you would have known that the green patch was moved. They moved the goalpost. Yesterday it was like Lynchburg and Roanoke, and then suddenly this morning it was in Norfolk. There's a big difference between Norfolk and Lynchburg, don't you agree? So as it is, I got to report where it is. This is still in effect. This is their map. This is their outlook. But so far, so good. Haven't had much in the way of severe weather. And if we did get something this evening, you'd be looking at damaging winds in a few spots. Flooding potential, maybe second of the ticket. But large hail, pretty small chance, and a tornado even lower than that. So I'm not expecting much, but looks like the most active storm is west of Vandermeer. Where's Vandermeer? Down here. I'm going to circle for you. Down here, that's where So maybe, because that's outside of the traditional TV viewing audience, maybe it's a nothing burger. Maybe we'll get nothing, and that's okay. I mean, it could be worse. I mean, there are some severe storms in some parts of the country. I see one west of Easley at the bottom left. Roanoke, areas south of Roanoke had some severe weather. So maybe the justification is, since they had some severe weather, maybe we get something. Maybe we get something in southeast Virginia tonight. I mean, after all, there's some severe storms down in northern parts of Georgia and right into parts of South Carolina. So I'm curious to know what you are seeing. Please leave me a comment. Let me know, and I'll do my best to magnify your voice. But I'm going to keep going because it's got a lot to cover. It is now 7:46, and I can see on this map we've got severe weather like popping everywhere. Where's everywhere? Well, let's go ahead. Let's see. Oh, it looks like, is that Kansas? Ooh, Toto in Kansas, like Wichita. It looks like they've got some severe storms. No joke, that's what we see. And they got severe thunderstorm warnings in Butler till 7 o'clock Central. They've got severe thunderstorm in Cowley and Sumner until 7:15. So there's severe weather in parts of the country. And I know because we're a military town, it's safe to say you have family everywhere and anywhere, right? It could be anywhere. Down in Atlanta or northeast of Atlanta, they have these severe thunderstorm warnings, kind of a very large area that's affecting Franklin, Hart, Stevens County, I'm listening to what they're Madison until about 8 o'clock, 8:15. And further north, it looks like there's a lot of flooding going on here. Not far from Puxatawney Phil. He might come out of his burrow if it's that rainy, but so far so good, I guess. But they got flash flood warnings in Armstrong and Indiana and Westmoreland counties until 9:15 tonight. I've got some notes here. I'm going to read some. I got Kim Thompson-Jones says, good evening, everybody. And Denmark's on here. It says, first warning live, and Marcos, what's a perfect pairing? I agree. I mean, it's a weather party. If you can get, I mean, let's be fair. If you can get half of your pizza off just before watching this show, I mean, is this a show? I guess it's a stream. Whatever it is supposed to be informative because let's face it, some of you might not necessarily watch a local newscast. That's okay. I'd love for you to do that. Sample us, right? But some of the people who watch traditional newscasts wouldn't necessarily watch this live stream. So maybe we're reaching more people here in Hampton Roads. That's the goal anyway. And into the Outer Banks as where we're talking about Manio for several days last week. One of the cool things I love the fact here is that, where am I on this? I'm all totally disoriented. Got some new hardware now. Now I have, as many of you know, these cool pictures, right? These cool pictures I call spotlights, neighborhood spotlights. I've done 8 of them where I go to a town, take 80 pictures because that's what the max that Facebook will allow. You could put more in the comments section if I miss something. But what's nice is I try and capture the essence of the town and I post it on Facebook and people go, yay or nay, or hey, I didn't know about that. That's cool. But one I really like fact now is we have this all kind of like, what's a real estate say? Real estate agent says location, location, location. No. For this, it's rotation, rotation, rotation. So like every 5 seconds, we're getting a new picture. For those of you who might have attention deficit disorder, we've got everything in here for you. And I just wanted to share some of my cool pictures so that you're not bored. And did I tell you we're giving away free pizza? I mean, not free. Yes, free. Free for if you win the certificate. That's announced on Thursday. But in the meantime, we just cut your pizza bill in half. I mean, it's not much harder. Is it for real? It is for real. It's the real deal of the week. And we really appreciate you being here. So let me get back to the weather. I digress so easily, but that's what makes this format so much fun. Let's go back, show you the current lows. The lows this morning were sticky. We started off at 71 in Norfolk, 72 in Virginia Beach, and in Manio, it was 74. That was the starting point. Now remember, yesterday's high was only 76. Today we got to 82. So we had a 6-degree bump, but boy, did it feel a whole lot hotter. What am I talking about? Because of the humidity, because of the dew points, 82 felt like 89. 89? Yeah, 89. And wait till tomorrow. Feels like 101 to 106 across the board. Some areas like Suffolk felt like 98 today. Didn't feel like 98 in Norfolk today, but you go to the city of Suffolk, it did. And that's why I say it's very, very challenging if you are not pacing yourself. Maybe you're a runner. Let's say I run 3 miles every day. Maybe you want to run just 1 mile. Maybe you're a walker. You walk 3 miles a day. Maybe you just want to walk 1 mile. Maybe just take it a little easier so that you don't exert yourself to a point where, I just want to make sure you're safe. That's all. And some people are like, I'm going to be at the beach, Aldrich. I'll be easy going, sitting back, chilling. Fine. That's fine. But for today, Suffolk hit 88 and Norfolk hit 82 degrees. If you're on the call, love to say hi to you. I'm just searching. I'm searching to see if there's some new comments on here, and I'll do my best to put you on the screen. That's one of the nice things about this software is that if I can, and I say I can, if I can put your comment on there, I will do my best to do that, because this is one of the cool things that makes this interactive. If we can make you part of the program, then it makes it even more fun. I got a note. Let's see here. Steve Rhodes says, yeah, I agree with Steve. He says, who doesn't like new hardware? You know, I love this. I love the fact that we got these rotating, Steve. And by the way, Steve, would you like 50% off your pizza tonight? You know, tonight's election night. The whole newsroom is all up in arms about election. And I'm like, hey, maybe we should get some pizza, maybe half off. That's an idea. Whether they take me up on that, we'll see. But you know what you may do, Steve, is you might want to participate by getting, and this is good only through Saturday, right? This promo code, but it's really good to see Steve, and just to let him know that I do recognize him. I see his wonderful picture here, and who doesn't like hardware? So we can recognize you any way we can. Just acknowledge that you're here, and this is like a weather party. That's a pizza party. Oh, pizza weather party. Who does that? It's better than Chuck E. Cheese, right? It's for the weather geeks and nerds like me and you. Maybe. I don't want to classify you as a nerd, but maybe if you like weather and you like the Hampton Roads area, maybe this is important to you. By the way, it's 7:51, now 7:52, and our current temperature has cooled back a little bit. Weather headlines, this is a live look at the ocean front. I like to say it's not just the heat. You know where that's going. You could finish that sentence. It's the humidity. Exactly. With the humidity, it's going to feel like 100 plus tomorrow. Severe storms will return. The threat arrives late on Juneteenth. What does that look like? We've got celebrations going on. We got a lot of celebrations going on. I think it's going to come in very late towards sunset. So you're looking at 4 p.m. at the earliest to more likely 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. as the starting point, because it will carry into the night. It will likely fade away probably by 2 in the morning on Friday. That's my expectation, and that's based on the data that I'm seeing today. Could it change tomorrow? Of course. That's one of the amazing things, what I love about weather. It's never the same day twice. And as far as the weekend outlook, man, is that good beach weather. Still hot, still humid, but more sunshine for this upcoming weekend. Now, technically, I know it felt like 89, which would be an above normal value, but the actual temperature was 82. So if you're playing the home game version, we were 10 days now below normal, 7 above. And we're going to make up for lost time because we're going to have a heat wave. Oh, sing that song. I won't do it. No. But having a heat wave. Okay, so that's what we're going to get. And these are the numbers we're going to continue to see. We're going to see more red squares in here. Sometimes it balances out, like low tide and high tide at the ocean front. It just is the way it goes. Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. Now we're moving toward hotter weather heading into the next week of June. Meanwhile, temperatures right now, high Hampton, 79. You're looking respectable at 75, Cape Charles, but I imagine it's probably still sticky there too. Kitty Hawk, 83. Elizabeth City, giving you some props, it's 87. Elizabeth City had over 3 inches of rain yesterday. They broke their daily rainfall record just yesterday because they keep a record for each day of the calendar year. Record highs, record lows, and so on. But the rainfall record, they shattered it yesterday in Elizabeth City. Just thought I'd throw that out there, but we covered that in greater detail yesterday. Got some other notes. Who do I have on here? I think I've got Denmark. He's figured this out. I love this. He's not a fan, I don't think. Is he a fan? No, I don't think he's a fan of the heat. Ooh, that little kitty cat. Maybe that's another good reminder. Denmark. Love it. And we got to get your cat picture for this area. I'm looking over here. I keep seeing a blank. Maybe get a picture in there of your favorite item or favorite family member. If it's not you, we just put something in there. Makes it more interactive. But look at the cat, right? If you have pets, if you have maybe a grandmother, a grandfather, very old, very young, might not be ready for this heat that we're going to feel. Because it's not just what it is, it's what it feels like. And that's going to be pretty taxing over the next day 2 days, really, before a little bit of a pullback in time for summer solstice, which I'll get into in a moment too. Back to the maps. Doesn't take much to do that. Let's go there. Temperature right now in Suffolk, 86. Ahoskie, 82, 87 in Wakefield. It is 7:55. Our dew points, are you kidding me? Anytime it's in the mid to upper 70s, like Suffolk, or Edenton, 82. I don't know if their hygrometer is calibrated, but that's pretty hot. That's a pretty high dew point. That's like amazingly tropical in every sense of the word. Any 80-degree dew points, that's like Florida. So when you were talking about 75, which it was today, it becomes oppressive. I talk about let me be clear. I don't want to confuse. It's oppressive, not impressive. Maybe you're impressed by it, but that means you can sweat without hardly trying. It's easy to sweat, but the comfort level goes down as those numbers go up. So to see a couple in the 80s for dew points, that's crazy land. I think it's great because it's just so swampy, very, very sticky, no doubt. Dew point temperatures right now in Louisville, Kentucky, it's 70. Pittsburgh, 69. New York City, 64. But even Myrtle Beach, Hatteras, both at 76 degrees. And when you're talking mid-70s, it really isn't that hard to calibrate when you look at the heat index. That's going to be the big story the next 2 days. A little bit of a pullback on Friday and Saturday. Temperatures were a tad cooler today in Norfolk because of that northeast wind. It didn't kick in until about noon. So when you can get a northeast wind, even on a hot day, it'll cool down a little bit. That's why Suffolk was so much hotter. It was like 88 there, 82 in Norfolk. But that northeast wind can maybe give a little bit of relief, but it's not going to change the overall equation, which is it's hot and it's sticky. So these are the numbers I expect for dew points. Our current reading now in Charlotte, 87. Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, 89, and it's 78 in Hatteras. You look around the country, I'm looking at, I don't know, maybe Denver. Denver would be a great place for someone like Denmark because he likes cool weather, apparently. We've got some cool weather in Bangor, Maine. It's 64, but it's really hot, Phoenix, but it's a dry heat because they have single-digit dew points. It's a desert after all. 108, that's where they are at this particular moment. I want to show you this map. This kind of gives us an idea of where we're going the next 10 days. It's now 7:57. Notice where all that pink and red kind of centered around the four corners kind of drifts in this direction. That's why our heat wave for this time of year, longest days of the year, is it any wonder? Even through the 27th of June, which is a Friday, doesn't look like there's much relief, right? It's kind of like in the dead of winter, you probably don't expect it to get really warm. It's part of the territory. And that's what we're going to get, I think, for this, because this would suggest 27th of June, we stay very, very toasty, very, very warm. Maybe we could spin it and say it's a great beach week, maybe by then. So maybe you got some time to spend some time at the Chesapeake Bay, the Outer Banks, or Hampton Roads and the oceanfront Virginia Beach. This would be a good time. It looks pretty good, and no tropical weather in the foreseeable future right now. So we've got 77 for lows tonight in Hampton, 74 or thereabouts for Cape Charles, and 76 for Duck. Expectation is we drop to 75 in Norfolk, 75 in Smithfield, and Moyock at 74 for a low temperature tonight. Here's where I expect to be. Are you ready for this? I think this is wild, right? 79 at 8. That's pretty amazing. If you're near 80 at 8, then you know you've got a hot day unless some severe weather is going to knock down that temperature. And that's not in the offering tomorrow. I have a 20% chance or less for rain tomorrow. Emphasis on less. And then you got 90, 95. 95 is likely to feel like 101 to 106. Let's repeat, 101 to 106 is going to be the range, I think, for the feels like, and then 88 with hazy sun at 8. So this is just one day of the whole calendar year that this is going to be, and then we're going to do it again on Juneteenth. But the Juneteenth will have a conclusion, like a fireworks show when the storms come down with the front. And I'll demonstrate that coming up in just a moment. Now, 7:59. Here's where I expect to be temperature-wise. 95, 96. Then we drop 10 degrees for the summer solstice. What's up with that? Well, because of the storms we get Thursday night, Juneteenth night, we get some storms, and it's going to cool us down. Back to near normal. The normal high is 86. I know it's a normal high of 86 because I see it right here. Oh, that's right, you got the telestrator. I do have the telestrator. And I also have room for some comments, so if you got something you want to share, let me know. Kim says she's going to stay. I think she's smart. I'm going to stay in the AC. Good deal. Kim, have you figured out this promo code? I want to save you some money, Kim. Let's take your pizza cost and cut it in half. I say take it. It's good through Saturday. It's only good this week. But Kim, you've got a great opportunity. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm very grateful that everybody watching is watching right now. And I'll keep moving, but there's some cool needs. Oh, Steve, got a conversation with Steve. Steve says it sounds like a good boat day. I couldn't agree with you more. This weekend's going to be a great boat weekend. And as far as Steve and anyone who's listening within earshot of this live stream, hopefully you'll be prepared for the heat that we got in the short term and how it's going to come racing back as we head into Saturday and especially Sunday. Sunday is one of those days where you can see the temperature goes from 90 on Saturday to 95 Sunday. How about the average? If you are playing the home game version, the National Weather Service of Wakefield gave me these numbers. And if you're upset, say 14 and a half days, how do you get a half a day, Aldrich? Well, it's divided by 30 days, or 30 years rather. So with the 30-year average, we can round up, right? There's nothing wrong. We're not violating any rules if we make that 14 and a half a 15. And if you figure there's 31 days in July, it's almost half of the month that we typically see. Half of the month of July is typically 90 or higher. Normally we get about 8 in June. And so far, we've had about 2 in June. We had 2 in May and 1 in April. So this is kind of in keeping with what's quote-unquote normal. And why be normal? I mean, this is what for context, the normal for the whole year is right up here, 36. So we get a little more than a month's worth of 90-degree days. If you're new to the area like me, I like this kind of information. So far, we've had 5 days. Tomorrow will be day number 6. And then Juneteenth will be day number 7, and so on, as we keep an eye on what's going on. Heat index, this is the map that I dread to show you. Do I have to show it to you? I guess I do. It's just what it is. I mean, 106, 106, 90, 90. I mean, these are tough numbers to take, and it's very important you take care of those pets. It's very important you take care of the dog has enough water in his bowl or her bowl. I mean, these are serious numbers that if you're not used to it and you say this is not what I was expecting in mid to late June, I'm here to tell you, I said it yesterday, be prepared for weather that's mid to late August is coming early this year. 20% chance tomorrow or less, but really it's that Juneteenth late afternoon and evening chance that we get some severe weather. The Storm Prediction Center's all over this. When I say they're all over this, what am I talking about? I'm talking about they've already described this as a level 2 in yellow, scattered, and a level 1 in green, isolated threat, late Thursday. It's not going to be a Thursday morning. Do not cancel your Juneteenth plans if you've got some festivities you're participating in, because the weather will be fine. It's just hazy and hot and humid, but it really won't open up in terms of severe weather likely until we get closer to sunset. Does that help? And here's a better way to describe it. I mean, as far as Juneteenth, I got a 10% at noon, 20% at 3, and a 60% chance 6 and 9. By the way, it's 8:02. I got to keep moving, but here's my expectation. This is the future rainfall forecast projected through time, and this puts about, guess what, a quarter inch to a half inch. We carry this into Friday night, and then Friday morning, this goes about until 8 a.m. So you're looking about a quarter. Nothing too extreme, but to be honest with you, these models are great, but they're not all knowing. They don't always take into account the high dew points. And when you have a high dew point, it's like having a car wash sponge and it wrings it out. It's heavy it's heavy moisture that's just squeezed out. And so it could be much, much higher than what's projected here on the screen. Could be twice that. Now, as we get to the eastern shore, you notice the UV index, very high tomorrow. It's a 10. Saxis, 89. Onancock, 90. If you're in Exmoor tomorrow, you can expect a high near 90 degrees and 88 in Cape Charles. We move further south to the Outer Banks, 89 in Duck, 90 in Nags Head and Banio, Rodanthe about 89 in Hatteras, and Ocracoke about 84 degrees. As we wrap up the weather segment, I'm going to get to the 60 miles little segment I wanted to share with you. But the Storm Prediction Center, they haven't changed their color coding. If it's a level 1, it's dark green, isolated. And if it's a level 2, it's typically scattered. Now, some cases, have you ever seen a level 3 or level 4? Somebody said to me, I think we were one of the first live streams, they said, that doesn't ever happen. I said, it does. It just doesn't happen often. And it gave you evidence that we can get sometimes in the country, not here. In the country, not here, we get some red, and we might even get, on occasion, like we did earlier in March or May, we had some purples. Widespread severe storms. Come on, I don't see it. There it is. It's in effect right now. We were talking about severe storms popping in some places, like near northeast of Atlanta. Well, right now, that's a level 4. That's a level 4 in red, and that covers Tulsa, Oklahoma, Independence, and Woodward. just to give you a few towns there, level 3 is Emporia, Dodge City. So you're talking about Kansas, you're talking about Oklahoma, and parts of Missouri where it's off the chart as far as where they think severe weather will break out this afternoon, tonight. I guess it's now night, but this carries us into 8 o'clock tomorrow morning for Atlanta. And right now, like I said, it's kind of somewhat of a mystery. We don't have any severe weather in Hampton Roads, but the risk is still there until they decide to adjust the coloring. It is now 8:05, another level 3 for tomorrow. You got family maybe in Indianapolis. They're going to be in the crosshairs. Also southern Missouri and maybe southern Illinois could get some numerous severe storms. That's the expectation. Detroit would be scattered. Oklahoma City scattered, and maybe more isolated for Dallas and Memphis. That's what you see there in green. And coming back to the Philadelphia, Baltimore, D.C. area, they too, along with the Jersey Shore, could get some isolated severe storms tomorrow. And that's basically it. Not a whole lot here. We are, as we already talked about it, we're under a level 2 and a level 1 in our neck of the woods on Juneteenth. This is Thursday. Covers Minneapolis, Green Bay, and north of Chicago for isolated. But the biggest concern, because of all this heat and humidity, and we have an approaching cold front, areas from Philadelphia, Allentown, New York City, back toward Harrisburg, and even closer to home, Hosky, Franklin, all in the risk for some scattered severe storms on Thursday. Now, what does this look like? Well, we've got the front. Think of this as like the match. It sets the fire. Once that front comes through, it'll be rolling in very late on really late on Thursday night and exiting pretty quickly Friday morning. Now, tonight, this is still, again, this is more like in the here and now. They still have these little more vigorous storms in red. Virginia Beach, maybe a shower. Is it worth keeping us under level 1? I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. And this is 9 o'clock. That's just less than an hour from now. We go into 11 o'clock. It's all going to bed. These storms disappear first thing tomorrow morning. Nothing to see here. Head into midday tomorrow. Nothing to see here. It's just hazy, hot, and humid. And you've probably had to go through several T-shirts because you're so sweaty. And then by midday to the afternoon, we're like 95. Feels like 101 to 106. That's tough to take, especially if you're very old, very young, and make sure your pets are cared for. 7 a.m. Thursday, nothing to see to start off Juneteenth. It's really, this is 5 o'clock. This model has been slowing it down while some bring it knocking on the door before 8 o'clock. So this is 7, that's 8, boom, let's stop there. I want you to see this full screen because this is what could happen to any activities, festivities that might be going on Thursday night. Some nasty storms in Franklin in red, burgundy, a Hosky, and it really comes right into Virginia Beach, Norfolk minutes later. I mean, imagine that all the models are singing from this same playbook, but they're off on the timing by a few hours. Some are a little bit faster, some are a little bit slower. I think we're probably in that 4 p.m. is the earliest to about 8 o'clock at night for the latest for the start. But this will likely go on for overnight. It's going to continue on. And evidence of this, you can see this plays out like so. 2 in the morning, it's still raining in Duck. It's still raining in places like Manio and Roanoke Island. And then 8 o'clock Friday morning, it's gone and life is good once again because it's a tad cooler. Wednesday morning, we're in the mid-70s. It's now 8:08. We got a high temperature tomorrow of 95 expected in Portsmouth, 94 in Franklin, a Hosky 93, and Cape Charles 88 degrees. My expectation for, that's actually a misprint. Oh, it's a misprint, but that should say 95 Norfolk, and 95 Smithfield. That's where I expect to be. Very, very hot with the heat index closer to 106. Here's your first warning. WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. 96 Thursday, 10 degrees cooler on Friday. Friday is the summer solstice. I point this out because at 10:42, we have the official start, the longest day of the year. Might be an extra second or two, but really the days preceding summer solstice and the days after the summer solstice are technically the longest days of the year. I mean, the only difference might be a few seconds as far as daylight is concerned. We still get 24 hours a day, but you might as well savor it. Let's say we had 86. So Saturday, mostly sunny. I left a 10% chance in there for a little spot shower in the Outer Banks. That might flare up, but otherwise, we're looking very, very hot next week. That's the key. This heat wave is just getting started. So think of the next 2 days as practice run. It's a dress rehearsal for what's coming to a neighborhood near you. If you got a call, want to say hi to you, oh, I like Steve says. He's appreciative. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate, when you're up here on this stage by yourself, here in this little podcast room, I call it the live stream room, it's nice to have people like you watching because this makes it more interactive. I mean, I could talk up here to the cows come home, but it's so much better when I know somebody like you's watching, and I appreciate all the kind words. By the way, if you guys haven't checked it out, I hope you will. We've got the 50% off online and app orders from marcos.com. Very easy to just use this when you check out. They ask for a promo code. It's our call letters, and then the 2 numbers, 50. That will take literally half off your bill. I mean, that's pretty sweet. Man, maybe we should tell people about it. Yeah, maybe tell them to watch First Warning Live. I think that'd be a good thing. But, again, to be fair, it's not everywhere. Meaning you would have to come to these 5 locations that's participating. You could order Marcos anywhere in Hampton Roads and Tidewater, but these are the 3 Virginia Beach locations, the one in Chesapeake, Greenbrier neighborhood, and Hampton Boulevard, Norfolk, where you can actually participate. And what I love about the pizza and the Pozzoli is that the pizza certificate, which we're going to give away on Thursday, we've been giving away, I think we've given away over 35 of these pizzas or more, and we're going to keep giving away. We want you to participate and be part of the weather party, so to speak. I mean, there's only so much weather party we can have, but I want you to be part of the conversation. Coming back on this 7-day, I just want to remind you that tomorrow will really start to heat up pretty quickly. It won't take long. I want to show you some cool happy shots. I love this because we get some of our WTKR photographers, very skilled with the camera. This is like a Facebook group, and they like to take pictures. And so this is from Rick McNelly. I think it looks better without me in it. There you go. This is on the Elizabeth River. Thank you, Rick, for sharing that photo with us. This is from Mr. Wynn, Virginia Beach, sunset, love it. Maybe he can invite us on his boat. I love that. Beautiful picture from Virginia Beach. And if you're maybe watching from far away and you're homesick, maybe you're in the military, this is a James River sunset from Katrina Gay. She's one of our First Warning WTKR photographers. So I wanted to thank Katrina for sharing those cool pictures with us. Because a lot of us, we get busy, but we like to see some cool pictures all the same. So there's the forecast. I think we've got pretty much everything covered here. I mentioned Marcos. I want to come back and reset a little bit because one of the cool things that I've had with this platform, it kind of got started when I first got here. 10 days into the job, somebody says, hey, were you in an episode of Andy Griffith's Matlock? And I was a little taken aback because I hadn't heard that in a long time. And turns out, yes, I was. I was not in the Kathy Bates Matlock. That's the new CBS shows. I was in an episode with Andy. But what people don't know is that Andy did 193 episodes, 6 seasons, mostly in LA. Then he did a double whammy, double show in Manio, then moved to Wilmington, moved his production crew to Wilmington, North Carolina, so that he could get on an airplane to Manio on Friday afternoons. He wanted to be close to his Mayberry. We've talked about this, but that's news 3. Somebody had noticed, that's really weird. Did you know that's really weird that you're on his episode? And I said, I was getting goosebumps. And someone says, you're supposed to be here. And I said, that life doesn't work like that. Or does it? I don't know. I'll let you decide. But I want to advance this story. I talked a little bit about 60 miles at the top of this live stream. As it's now 8:13, I'll keep this concise as best I can. But I wanted you to see what, interestingly, if you've been to West Virginia, West Virginia, it used to be one state back during the Civil War. Hey, but this Charleston was a place that my father was working. He was from Philadelphia. My dad went to Bucknell. He was very proud. He went to Bucknell University. And he was traveling. He was actually, to be fair, my dad was, and I talked about this because it was Father's Day, so that's the connection. My dad was a sergeant in the U.S. Army, and then he started selling. This is no joke. He was selling these tiles. If I could come back on, maybe you can see it here. These little, these drop ceiling tiles from Armstrong Corporation. They were big in the early '60s. The drop ceilings, the acoustical tiles with the pinholes. He was not selling door to door. He was selling business to business, like to lumber yards and to contractors. I just had to set the scene, right? So my dad is in Charleston. How many of you would drive 60 miles to meet a girl you've never met before and ask her out on a date? That's what my dad did. And I said, Dad, that's you got game. I mean, he had only seen her in the newspaper. What newspaper? Do you have any clippings? I do. I finally got the clippings, and my parents were here this weekend. So here's a quick picture of my mom. She's actually smiling at a TV star named Dale Robinson. Now, the old-timers would remember he was very famous. He was actually famous for playing Jim Hardy on Tales of Wells Fargo. He played Ben Calhoun on Iron Horse. He was kind of a modest Western hero. But when I saw this picture as a kid, I'm like, Mom, you really look like you were enjoying yourself. I mean, if you take the movie Back to the Future, I mean, how did you end up with Dad? And then when she came here the other day, she said, oh, David, you forgot to mention John Gavin. I said, who's John Gavin? She said, Google him. So I Googled John Gavin. John Gavin was in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. He was fourth in the credits. Sam Loomis, not Anthony Perkins, not Janet Leigh. That shower scene's legendary. But Sam Loomis was played by John Gavin, tall, dark, and handsome. He came to Huntington in 62, 63. And so Mom was like enamored with all these stars, right? And I'm like, how do you end up with a guy selling tile? He must have, she says, you want to know the truth, son? She said, let me tell you the truth. She said, the reason I ended up with your dad, she says, I felt sorry for him. Ooh, there's a lesson in there somewhere. The prettiest of girls, who she often said I never had a date on a Friday or Saturday because guys were afraid to ask her, maybe if I could just get someone to feel sorry for me. Make the girl feel sorry for you. Maybe that's the key, because these parents of mine, they've been married now 60 years. They've been married now 60 years, and what's amazing, I'm going to pull up this picture because I think this tells the story, partly tells the story. I'm going to tie this into to me and my wife. Because I met my wife in West Virginia, but in reverse. Cha-cha now, yo. In reverse. I drove from Huntington. I saw her not in a newspaper. I saw my wife in Charleston on TV because we both worked at the same local TV station, the #1 NBC station at the time. Is that cool? I mean, I think it's cool. I mean, the fact that 35 years later, my dad's driving 60 miles, man's got game, he just shows up at her sorority at Marshall, and she doesn't know him from Adam. Says, hey, you want to get a cup of coffee? Sure, why not? I think that's weird. I mean, not commonly done today, but that's what happens sometimes if you pay attention, because my mom and dad have been married, will be 61 years this September. Now, this is where it gets fun, right? Because Mom was recognized for her beauty pageant days just as recently as last March. This was last March when they were celebrating women, and there were all sorts of women. This was like one of the utility poles there, but they had different women on every part of the town, which I thought was really cool to honor them. But when they came for Father's Day, this is my dad in the bottom left, and my mom. I took them to the Pagoda Garden and Oriental Garden, the Pagoda and Oriental Garden, and I was joking with my dad. I said, Dad, if you come to Norfolk, why don't you? I'll introduce you to a mermaid. And he said, oh, that's funny. He said, but I have your mom. I have your mom. And when he said on Friday, son, I want to drive down and see you, driving's never been a problem for my dad, right? He says, I said, Dad, that's an 8-hour drive. From Huntington to Norfolk, 8-hour drive. Are you sure you're up for it? Because they're in their 80s. And you know what he said to me? He said, I'll drive 4 hours. Mom will drive the other 4 hours. We'll be there and we'll be happy to see you. And we had a great time. I mean, he's got a great sense of humor. My dad, I took him over to the King Neptune, Virginia Beach. He wanted some she crab soup. I took him there too. Oh, and he loved the waterfront. Loved the waterfront. But I have to explain the other story. Is how I met my wife was in reverse. It was like cha-cha now, yo. I went the other direction. I lived in Huntington. Charleston, we were the same station, but we were 60 miles apart. Very weird, but if you're familiar with this area, whenever you said the governor, you'd have to say governor of Ohio, governor of Kentucky, or do you mean the governor of West Virginia? You couldn't say the governor was in town on a news story. My wife was a journalist and reporter and anchor, and she comes from Texas, and I don't see her in a newspaper. No. I see her on TV. She turns a package, which is like a 2-minute story. She's working at this station, WSAZ, and I see her on the news, and I say, ooh, I like her. I said, I want to go, I'm going to drive over and say hi to her. I mean, because the stuff because that stuff rubs off on you. The people we meet, like my dad, the people you hang out with, they'll help shape who you are. It's part of the neighborhood, all right? My wife didn't know me at all, but you know what? It was the scene right out of It's a Wonderful Life. I'm not kidding you. I knocked on the door at the Charleston Bureau. They didn't like to be called it back then. I'm sure they're not that now. They're like an independent station, but they're same call letters. I didn't have a key to that building, so I had to knock on the door. She opened it up just like It's a Wonderful Life. She says, who are you? I don't know you. I said, I'm the weather guy. I'm the weather guy. She says, how do I know? I just started like 3 days ago. And she didn't know me. She had no clue. Just like my dad. In reverse. Cha-cha now, y'all. It's totally different. But this was 35 years apart. And we got married in the same church. Different denominations. In Huntington. because we had these things called sweeps. You couldn't take time off in November, February, and May back in the day because of the advertising dollars, so you couldn't be approved. So we ended up getting married by necessity in Huntington. She's from Texas. We would have probably gotten married in Texas, but it just happened to be that way. I mean, is that any weirder? Is that any stranger than this? That you're in a magazine, that Andy's in 193 episodes, this is one of only 2 episodes he's using it? It's weird. Or I mean, does life work like that? I don't know. But I can tell you, one of the greatest things I love about my wife is she's always adventurous. We went to Snowshoe. We took our 2 daughters there. That's them behind all the goggles. This was a couple of years back. It's now one of the great things about being a dad. And I told you yesterday, I have a lot of work to do on being present, putting my phone down when I sit down at a meal. I'm terrible at that. I'm awful at that. And if I were to quote, it was my superlative in my Brandywine High School yearbook. Who am I thinking of? Ferris Bueller. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and if you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it. And there's a lot of moments I've missed. I hate that. And I hope that's not true for you. But we've got to look out after each other. I've talked about that before. My girls are now grown. They're in their early 20s and late teens now. And so one of the blessings I have is when you have a neighborhood, when you have a family, it's beyond words. It's amazing. So Stephanie, thank you. I love you. My girls, it's just one of the things that doing this type of thing, I was inspired by the guy on the magazine. You know, the guy on the magazine is Kurt Williams. Been here since 1987. That's him on that magazine. And when he started 1987, since then he talked about his prostate cancer. For the last 12, 13 months, he's been vulnerable to the viewing audience, and the viewing audience has paid it in spades because they said, you saved my life. There have been people, men, who've gotten tested because of Kurt. So I'm not of that path in life yet, but I will say I want to be on a first name basis with you because I fear that someday, maybe not this year, someday, maybe not this 3 years, but there will come a time when a tropical storm will hit the Bahamas and be headed here, or worse yet, a hurricane headed to the Outer Banks. And it's going to take massive coordination with our neighbors. Do you know most hurricanes, it's after the hurricane's gone. Dr. Michael Brennan will tell you this. It's after the hurricane. That's where the deaths occur. Most people will pull out a chainsaw. They'll get hit by a down power line. They have no idea, right? It's after the storm. That's when we need to be together as a neighborhood. That's when I think we need to pull together. So that's my soapbox. It's my family footnotes. It's my 60 miles. I just thought I'd share it with you. And I hope it was meaningful because these are fun to do, but I also appreciate being myself. Because I can't do this in a 3-minute weathercast, clearly. But having this format gives me that opportunity. And remember, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or serious, every day is a gift, and make the most of it in your neighborhood. Take care.